Welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad you're here with us today. I'm Emma, your host, and as always, I'm joined by the wonderful Jake. Jake, how are you doing?
Emma, I'm doing great, thank you. I had a really lovely weekend, actually. Spent most of it with my family, which feels kind of perfect given what we're talking about today.
Oh, that's such a nice coincidence. Yes, today we are diving into a topic that is honestly close to everyone's heart. Family. The importance of family, what it means to different people, and why it plays such a big role in our lives.
And I think this is one of those topics where everyone has something to say. Like, it doesn't matter where you're from or what your background is, family is something that touches all of us in some way.
Absolutely. And for our listeners who are learning English, this is also a really rich topic for vocabulary. We'll be using lots of natural expressions, some idioms, a few phrasal verbs, but don't worry, we'll always make sure the meaning is clear from the context.
Exactly. We're not going to throw you in the deep end without a life jacket. That's an idiom, by the way. Throw you in the deep end means to put someone in a difficult situation without preparing them first. We promise we won't do that.
We're very kind hosts. So Jake, let's just start with the basics. When you think about family, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Honestly, noise. I come from a big family, 3 brothers, 1 sister, and our house was always loud. Always someone talking, always someone laughing or arguing. It was chaotic, but in the best possible way.
Oh, I love that. Chaotic, but in the best way. That's such a perfect description. I'm actually the opposite. I grew up in a pretty small, quiet family, just me and my older brother. So things were a lot more calm, but also maybe a little lonely sometimes.
Right. And I think that's what's so interesting about this topic. Family looks completely different depending on who you ask. For some people, it's this huge, noisy, extended family with cousins and grandparents all under one roof. For others, it's just 2 or 3 people who are incredibly close.
Exactly. And actually, the word family itself has kind of evolved, hasn't it? Like the definition has changed over time. It's not just blood relatives anymore. It can include close friends, partners, chosen family, as we say.
Yes, chosen family is such an important concept, especially for people who maybe didn't have a great experience with their biological family, meaning the family they were born into. Sometimes the people you choose to surround yourself with become your real family.
That's such a beautiful and important point. And it kind of leads us to ask, why is family so important in the first place? What does family actually give us that we can't easily get elsewhere?
I think the first and most obvious thing is a sense of belonging. You know, that feeling that you are part of something, that you matter to people, that there are people who will show up for you. Show up here means to be there for someone, to support them when they need it.
Yes, and I think that sense of belonging is really fundamental, meaning it's really basic and essential to who we are as humans. We are social creatures. We need connection. And family, at its best, provides that very deep, very consistent connection.
Consistent. I like that word. Because that's the thing, right? Family is often the relationship that stays. Friends come and go, jobs change, cities change. But family tends to be the constant, the thing that remains.
Although, and I want to bring this up because I think it's important to be honest, family isn't always a source of comfort for everyone. Some people have really difficult family relationships, and that's real too.
100%. And I think we should acknowledge that without making anyone feel bad about it. Family can be complicated. Sometimes family members hurt each other. Sometimes there's distance, emotional distance, not just physical, and that's painful.
Right, so when we talk about the importance of family today, we're really talking about what family can be at its best, while also being honest that it doesn't always look perfect. Real life is messy, as we say.
Very messy. But I think even in that messiness, there's something valuable, like learning how to navigate, meaning how to handle or manage. Difficult relationships within a family actually teaches you so much about communication and patience.
Oh, that's such a good point. Family is almost like a training ground for life. Because if you can figure out how to communicate with a stubborn uncle or a very opinionated grandmother, you can probably handle most situations in life.
Right. My grandmother had an opinion on literally everything. What I was wearing, what I was eating, who I was spending time with. And at the time, it drove me crazy. Drove me crazy means it really frustrated or annoyed me. But looking back, she was coming from a place of love.
And that's such a common experience, isn't it? Family members who maybe express their care in ways that feel intrusive, meaning they get too involved in your personal life. But underneath it all, they genuinely care about you.
Exactly. And as you get older, you start to appreciate those things more. When I was a teenager, I just wanted independence. I wanted my family to leave me alone. Now I actually call my mom every other day just to chat.
Aw, that's so sweet. It's funny how that shift happens. Like, there's almost always a point in your life where you go from pushing your family away to actively wanting them around more.
I think it often happens when life gets hard. You know, when you face something really difficult, a loss, a health issue, a career setback, and suddenly you realize how much you need those people, how much strength you draw from them.
Draw strength from. I love that phrase. It means to get strength or support from something or someone. And it's so true. There's something incredibly grounding about being around people who have known you your whole life.
Grounding, yes. Like your family knows you before you had your job title, before you had your achievements, before you had your image. They know the real you. And there's something very comforting and also very humbling about that.
Humbling, meaning it keeps you modest, it keeps you from getting too big-headed, because your family will absolutely remind you of all your embarrassing moments.
Oh, without question. My brothers bring up something embarrassing I did when I was 12 at least once a year. Every family gathering, without fail. It's practically a tradition at this point.
That is so relatable. Every family has those stories that get told again and again, and even if they're a little embarrassing, they create this shared history, this sense of we have been through things together.
And I think that shared history is actually one of the most powerful things about family. It's not just that you care about each other, it's that you have this whole archive of memories and experiences that belong to all of you together.
That's beautifully put. And it connects to something I read recently about how family helps shape our identity, who we are and how we see the world. A lot of our values, our habits, even the way we speak comes from our family.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. Your first language, your first lessons about right and wrong, your first understanding of what relationships look like, all of that comes from your family environment. It's your starting point.
And sometimes that starting point is really positive, and sometimes it means you have to unlearn certain things as you grow up. Like if you grew up in a household where people didn't talk about emotions, you might have to actively learn how to express yourself as an adult.
That's such a real thing. I actually had to work on that. My family were great, but we weren't really big on talking about feelings. Very just get on with it kind of attitude. Get on with it means to just continue and not dwell on problems.
Yes, that very classic, we don't make a fuss mentality. And it's not necessarily bad. It builds resilience, meaning the ability to bounce back from difficult things. But it can also mean you struggle to open up to people.
Right. And I think that's why it's so interesting to talk about family across cultures, too. Different cultures have very different norms, very different ideas about what family should look like and how family members should behave toward each other.
Oh, completely. In some cultures, it's totally normal and expected for multiple generations to live together. Grandparents, parents, children, all under one roof. In others, young adults are expected to move out and be independent as soon as possible.
And neither one is inherently better or worse. Inherently means by its very nature. It's just different. And there are real advantages and disadvantages to both models.
Exactly. Like living with extended family can mean more support, more connection, built-in childcare, which is huge, by the way. But it can also mean less privacy, more conflict, more pressure to conform to family expectations.
And the independent model gives you freedom and space to develop your own identity, but it can also lead to loneliness and a feeling that you're navigating life without a safety net. Safety net meaning something that catches you if you fall.
That's such a vivid image. And I think a lot of people who grew up in very independent households actually crave that sense of a safety net. They build it with friends or partners because they didn't have it built into their family structure.
Which again goes back to the idea of chosen family. You find your people wherever you find them, and those relationships can be just as deep and meaningful as biological family.
I want to talk a little about the role of family in our mental health because I think it's such an important connection. Research actually shows that people with strong family bonds bonds, meaning close, deep connections, tend to have better mental and even physical health outcomes.
That doesn't surprise me at all. There's something about knowing you have people in your corner. In your corner means supporting you and rooting for you. That just makes everything feel more manageable.
And on the flip side, family conflict and estrangement. Estrangement means when family members become distant or cut off contact, can be really damaging to a person's well-being. It's one of the more painful experiences people go through.
Because it's not like losing a friend, as painful as that is. It's losing someone who was supposed to be there unconditionally. And when that breaks down, it can shake your sense of identity.
Really well said. So, what do you think, and this is maybe a slightly controversial question, do you think family loyalty is always a good thing? Like, is it always right to stand by your family?
Ooh, interesting question. I think loyalty to family is beautiful up to a point, but I also think blind loyalty, meaning loyalty without any critical thinking, can be harmful. If a family member does something wrong, loyalty shouldn't mean you just cover for them or ignore it.
I completely agree. I think healthy family loyalty means you love and support each other, but you also hold each other accountable, meaning you call each other out when something isn't right. That's actually a sign of deeper respect.
Right. And I think the healthiest families are the ones where people can disagree, where there's room for different opinions, where not everyone has to be the same. That kind of environment actually makes the bond stronger.
Because you're choosing to be close, even though you're different people with different views. That's a much more genuine connection than families where everyone just goes along to get along. Goes along to get along means avoids conflict by just agreeing with everything.
Yes, and we all know that family where no one ever talks about anything real and everyone just pretends everything is fine. It's polite, but it's not actually close, you know?
Exactly. Surface-level harmony versus real, deep connection, those are two very different things. And I think most people deep down want the real thing, even if it's messier.
Definitely. And I think that's also why family dinners and family traditions matter so much. They create these regular moments where you're actually present with each other, actually talking, actually sharing a meal or an experience.
Yes, family traditions, they seem small, but they're so powerful. Whether it's a Sunday roast, a holiday ritual, a yearly trip somewhere together, those repeated experiences build something over time that's really hard to replace.
My family always had this thing on Christmas Eve where we'd all watch the same movie together, every single year. And as a kid, I used to think it was boring. Now I would genuinely be upset if we stopped doing it.
See, that's exactly it. The things you roll your eyes at when you're young become the things you cherish. Cherish means to hold something very dear, to value it deeply when you're older.
Absolutely. And I think that's something worth saying to our younger listeners. Try to appreciate those moments with your family now, even if they feel ordinary or even annoying at the time. They don't last forever.
That's a really touching note, and it brings up something I think about a lot. The importance of telling people in your family that you love them, that you appreciate them, while you still can. We don't do that enough.
We really don't. I think a lot of families, especially cultures where expressing emotions isn't the norm, go years without actually saying, "I love you," or "I'm proud of you," and those words matter so much.
They do, and it doesn't have to be dramatic or over the top. It can just be a text, a quick phone call, a "hey, I was thinking about you." Those small gestures of connection, gestures meaning small actions that show how you feel, they add up.
They really do. My dad is not a very emotionally expressive person, but a while ago he sent me this short message just saying he was proud of me, and I still think about that message to this day.
Oh, that's so lovely. Yeah, those moments stick with you. They become part of your story. Okay, I want to ask you something a little more practical. How do you think people can actively strengthen their family relationships? Like, what actually works?
Great question. I think the number one thing is just making time. We all say we're busy, and we are busy, but family relationships require time and attention like any other relationship. You have to actually prioritize them.
And prioritize just means to decide that something is important enough to put first, to make space for it in your life. And I think it's easy to take family for granted. Take for granted means to not appreciate something because you assume it will always be there.
Exactly. And then something changes. Someone moves away, someone gets sick, someone passes away, and suddenly you wish you'd made more time. It's one of those classic regrets.
So making time is number one. What else do you think matters?
I think communication is huge. And I don't mean just talking. I mean actually listening. Being present in the conversation, not just waiting for your turn to speak. Real listening is something families have to practice.
Yes, active listening, it sounds simple, but it's genuinely hard, especially in family dynamics where you've known each other so long that you think you already know what the other person is going to say.
Right, you finish each other's sentences, you make assumptions, and sometimes those assumptions are completely wrong and they cause misunderstandings. Keeping that openness, that willingness to really hear someone is so important.
And I'd add forgiveness. Family members will inevitably hurt each other at some point. It's unavoidable when you're that close to someone. Being able to forgive and move forward means to not get stuck in the past, is essential.
Forgiveness is so hard, though, especially when the hurt was real and deep. But I think it's worth it. Not for the other person necessarily, but for your own peace of mind. Holding on to resentment means a bitter feeling about past wrongs, is exhausting.
That's so true. And there's a difference between forgiving someone and excusing what they did. You can forgive and still set limits, still decide how much that person is allowed to be in your life. Those are separate things.
Yes, well said. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to pretend it didn't happen or let someone keep hurting you. It means you choose not to let that pain define your relationship forever, if the relationship is worth saving.
Beautifully put. Okay, I think we've covered so much ground today. We've talked about what family means, why it matters, how it shapes us, family across cultures, mental health, loyalty, traditions, and how to strengthen those bonds.
It's been such a rich conversation, and I hope our listeners feel like they've gotten something from it, whether it's some new vocabulary, some ideas to think about, or maybe just a reminder to call someone they love.
Yes, please do that. Whoever it is, your mom, your dad, your sibling, your best friend who feels like family, reach out. Don't wait for a special occasion.
And if you're learning English and this episode felt like a natural way to hear the language used in real conversation, that was completely intentional. We want you to feel like you're just sitting with two friends having a chat.
Two very talkative friends. Well, that's it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. It really means a lot.
It does. Take care of yourselves, take care of your people, and we'll see you, or, well, hear you, next time.
Until next time, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.